My neighbor Karen's scream could have shattered glass, but her fake tears were the real performance. "He's a thief," she wailed, pointing at me like I'd stolen her soul instead of just moving out. For 3 years, I'd endured Karen's reign of terror in our quiet cul-de-sac. Her manicured lawn was her throne, her doorbell camera, her scepter. She'd call the cops on kids for skateboarding, on Mrs. Lopez for her too loud salsa music, and once on me for suspiciously carrying groceries at night. But this was her masterpiece. I was leaving, finally escaping her petty tyranny, to a new city with my son, Ethan, my crime, packing my U-Haul a day early. Karen claimed I'd stolen her antique garden gnome, a hideous thing she swore was worth thousands. I hadn't touched it, but the truth never stopped her. The morning started with her banging on my door, her bleach blonde bob trembling with rage. "You broke it, didn't you? You jealous, deadbeat nobody," she spat, holding the gnome's shattered remains like evidence of war crimes. I tried to stay calm, explaining I'd been loading boxes all night, but she was already dialing 911, her voice climbing to operatic heights. "He's fleeing, arrest him," she shrieked into the phone. Ethan, my 16-year-old, peeked out from the garage, his eyes wide. "Dad, she's nuts," he whispered, but I waved him back. I didn't want him in her crosshairs. The cops arrived in minutes, their sirens slicing through the morning fog. 2 officers, a grizzled veteran and a rookie with a nervous twitch, stepped out. Karen launched into her tale, tears streaming on cue, pointing at the broken gnome like it was her murdered child. "He's been harassing me for years," she lied, her voice quivering with rehearsed victimhood. The officers turned to me, their faces skeptical but dutiful. "Sir, we need to search your truck," the veteran said. My stomach sank. I hadn't done anything, but Karen's theatrics were convincing, and I was just a single dad with a beat-up pickup and a kid to protect. I let them search, my hands shaking as I opened the U-Haul. Ethan watched from the porch, his phone in hand, recording everything. "Just in case." "Dad," he'd said earlier, his voice steady despite the chaos. The officers rummaged through boxes, finding nothing but my old vinyl records and Ethan's soccer gear. Karen's face twisted, her confidence faltering, but she doubled down. "He must have hidden it somewhere else," she insisted, stomping toward my garage. That's when I saw it, the glint of desperation in her eyes. This wasn't about the gnome. It was about control, about punishing me for daring to leave her kingdom. The tension snapped like a taut wire when Ethan stepped forward. "Officers, check her backyard," he said, his voice calm but firm. Karen froze, her mascara-streaked face paling. "What are you talking about? You little brat," she hissed. But Ethan didn't flinch. He held up his phone, showing grainy footage from our security camera. "Last night, she smashed her own gnome and planted pieces in our trash," he said. My jaw dropped. I hadn't even known he'd checked the footage. The officers exchanged a glance, and the rookie motioned for Karen to lead them to her yard. She resisted, her voice climbing to a screech. "This is outrageous, I'm the victim." But the veteran wasn't buying it. They followed her to her pristine backyard, where Ethan pointed to a pile of dirt near her rose bushes. "Dig there," he said. The rookie hesitated, but the veteran grabbed a shovel from Karen's garden shed. 3 scoops in. They hit something hard, a metal box stuffed with random trinkets, a silver bracelet, a pair of earrings. Even a dog tag I recognized as belonging to Mr. Chen's late retriever. Karen's face collapsed, her lies unraveling faster than her composure. "You've been stealing from the neighborhood," Ethan said, his voice low but venomous. "Then you framed my dad to keep him here. Under your thumb." The officers turned to Karen, their expressions hardening. She stammered, her hands flailing, but the evidence was undeniable. The rookie pulled out handcuffs, and the veteran read her rights. Karen's screams echoed as they led her to the squad car, her perfect facade shattered like her precious gnome. Ethan and I stood on the lawn, watching the red and blue lights fade into the distance. My heart pounded, not from fear anymore, but from pride. My kid, barely old enough to drive, had outsmarted a master manipulator. "How'd you know?" I asked, my voice hoarse. He shrugged. a half smile breaking through. She's been watching us for years. Dad. I just watched her back, but the victory felt hollow. As we loaded the last boxes, I couldn't shake the weight of what Karen's lies had cost us: sleepless nights, whispered fights, the constant dread of her next move. She'd turned our home into a battlefield, and though we'd won, the scars remained. Ethan climbed into the U-Haul, his phone still clutched like a weapon. "Let's go." "Dad," he said, "no one's stopping us now." I started the engine, the rumble drowning out the echoes of Karen's screams. We were free, but freedom came with a bitter aftertaste. Karen wasn't just a neighbor, she was a warning. Trust is fragile, and some people will burn the world down to keep you in their grip. As we pulled away, I glanced at Ethan, his jaw set, his eyes forward. He'd saved us. But I wondered what this fight had cost him, too. The U-Haul rattled down the highway, the cul-de-sac shrinking in the rear-view mirror. Ethan stared out the window, his silence louder than the engine's hum. I wanted to ask what he was thinking, but the weight of the day clung to us both. Karen's arrest wasn't the end of her shadow. She'd poisoned our little world, turned neighbors into spies, and made every creak in the night feel like a threat. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white, wondering how we'd rebuild trust in a new place. Ethan broke the quiet. "She wasn't just after you, Dad," he said, his voice low. "She wanted control over everyone." He pulled out his phone, scrolling through more footage he hadn't shown the cops. It was Karen, sneaking through backyards, planting evidence to pin on others: Mrs. Lopez's missing earrings, Mr. Chen's dog tag. Ethan had been tracking her for weeks, piecing together her schemes like a detective. "I couldn't let her win," he said, his eyes burning with a fire I hadn't seen before. "My kid wasn't just smart, he was relentless." We stopped at a gas station, the neon lights buzzing in the dusk. I leaned against the truck, watching Ethan sip a soda, his shoulders slouched. The victory over Karen should have felt triumphant, but it was tainted. She'd forced my son to grow up too fast, to see the world's ugliness before he should have had to. I walked over, resting a hand on his shoulder. "You did good, Ethan," I said, "but I'm sorry you had to." He nodded, his jaw tight, and I saw the cost of his courage, a piece of his innocence, gone. The next morning, we arrived at our new apartment, a small place with bare walls and a view of a park. Ethan set up his laptop, uploading the footage to a neighborhood forum. "They deserve to know," he said, his fingers flying across the keys. Comments flooded in shock, gratitude, apologies from neighbors who'd believed Karen's lies. Mrs. Lopez called, her voice thick with emotion, thanking Ethan for clearing her name. For the first time in months, I felt a spark of hope. Karen's reign was over, and Ethan had lit the match that burned it down. But the bitterness lingered. Karen's lies had fractured more than just our trust. They'd stolen time, peace, and the simple joy of home. As we unpacked, I vowed to rebuild that for Ethan, to give him a place where he could be a kid again, not a warrior. He deserved that much. The sun set over the park, painting the sky in hues of fire. Ethan smiled, small but real, and I knew we'd be okay. Have you faced a Karen in your life?